Hello to all my brothers and sisters of the light, and welcome to another edition of You Are Awesome. For those of us that are awakening at this time, one of the biggest issues I hear is frustration from people trying to spread the message of enlightenment to other people. I remember after I had my awakening experience, I was going around describing all these amazing things that I was downloading and seeing. I was surprised at the negative responses. The thing we have to remember is that people have become completely identified with their ego. They believe that their entire existence is this unreal, illusory construct which causes tremendous fear and guilt. And in that state, and this is absolutely key to remember, they believe that if their ego dies, then they will die as well, because they're currently unable to make that distinction between their eternal spirit being and this illusory shadow self we call the ego. And that's the insanity of the ego. And so when we bring these stories to them of higher realms and higher dimensions, if they're not ready for it, it'll just cause them to become defensive, because on that unconscious level, the ego warns them off that information. Because the ego knows this will be its death. And again, it tries to convince that person that this will be their death as well. And if the stories become strong enough from awakening friends and family members, and that person is still resistant, then they might become rude, disrespectful, and even vicious. And that's where we need to have compassion. Some of our brothers and sisters are fighting a very hard battle. And the only way they're going to truly receive help from us is not through spiritual platitudes, but love. By sitting with them, putting our arms around them, and just being the presence of love with them if they'll let us. And that love will help soften up their ego, but they're the ones that need to decide when they're ready. If we try to force it on them, thinking they need it because they're crazy and they're getting on our nerves, if we try to force it on them, it's just going to backfire, and sometimes we might lose friends over it. Now, sometimes losing friends or spouses is inevitable because their energy is too low and even abusive, and we just need to remove ourselves from that situation. But to lose a friend because we bonked them over the head with our spiritual 2x4 can be a tough one to swallow. Remember, you're always in your own reality bubble, so you can accept others behaving poorly without getting worried and feeling like you need to change them. The ego tries to tell us that unless we change that problematic person or situation that is out in the world, that it might bite us in some way, so we need to act and we need to correct them. That's simply not true. The only thing that can hurt you, and this is another key thing to remember, the only thing that can hurt you are your own thoughts. Let me say that one more time because it's so big. The only thing that can hurt you are your own thoughts. When we take the bait from someone that is acting out, then we take that invitation onto the ego's dance floor of judgment and hate with them, and now they can seem to have power over us, and all kinds of crazy things can start now. But when we accept where they're at, shower them with love, then we are demonstrating that we are accepting who we truly are as eternal, perfect beings of light and love, and we can stand right next to them without being moved by those dark energies at all. That's power. That's why love is the ultimate power. But we're actually going into our own minds and batting aside the ego's nasty judgment, beliefs, and fears about those people or situations. This is all inner work. My main priority is loving people, and if I feel there is some receptivity from that person for something deeper, I'll share it with them. But mostly I keep that spiritual knowing to myself and do the internal work of getting my monkey mind under control. And when you start accepting your awesomeness more and more, you'll find yourself short on words and long on love. And you'll find yourself accepting others wherever they're at. You are awesome. You are all-powerful. You are eternal. You are magnificent. You are amazing. And I believe in you. Trust, create, love, serve. I love you all.